We're focused on IP connectivity and having IP replace the coaxial cable and digital baseband, and being resolution independent and frame rate independent in our production infrastructure. And so we sponsor some activity that's going on within the European Broadcasting Union, SMPTE, and the Video Services Forum in order to create this new infrastructure that will be flexible and give us, the capabilities of the future. On the regulatory side, of course, in the broadcast side of the house, we have to worry about, will the FCC give us permission to do this? And will the next generation of ATSC 3.0 do that? And that's taking a great deal of effort. And then the fun part's to get to go in the lab, where we've got all kinds of 4K displays and all kinds of 4K devices. And I'll tell you, we were talking at lunch, it is back into the 80s with HD. The functionality is all over the farm, the capabilities are all over the farm, and building a live broadcast workflow, which is, since we do 40,000 hours a year of live sports, that's something we really have to think about.
We do see a lot of differentiating factors between IP delivery and your standard cable delivery. A lot of that infrastructure is set for like cable delivery, digital cable, whereas IP can move very quickly. Most likely 4K will be delivered via IP first before it is over any type of cable or satellite distribution. Ultra HD spec refers to Rec 2020, which is more than double the color space of Rec 709, which is HD. So the vividness and the color saturation of your Ultra HD will be that much more realistic comparatively to your standard Rec 709 HD signals that are coming in now. So it's almost like comparing how digital images, were perceived maybe 10, 15 years ago, where, you had a VGA monitor and 256 colors was fine. But now, we have like 16-bit depth. Colors can get a lot deeper, more realistic. So being able to like look at an Ultra HD screen and almost feel like you're looking out the window literally, I think is an amazing thing for the consumers. And I think there is a lot of benefit to that, especially with integration into other media ecosystems. So being able to display your photos on a 4K Ultra HD TV will be that much better.
So here's 2K, okay? And 2K is basically just under 4 gigabits per second to, play it, uncompressed 2K. So there's 4K. And now you can't play one stream down your 10 gig Ethernet, really, of uncompressed. Nonetheless, multiple streams. So when we start looking at this and analyzing what's involved for building infrastructure, which is my universe, I think it's easier if we rename it, instead of 4K, let's call it 4X, as in 4 times more bandwidth, 4 times more storage, 4 times more rendering time, 4 times more hit on your GPUs and CPUs. That's what we're really talking about. So why are we doing that is the big question, okay? In a theatrical situation, I can understand that. In a home, it doesn't, the human eye, we're now up against the ability of the human eye to resolve detail at a distance, and we've maxed.
If you look at the traditional NAS or SAN architecture that uses RAID 5 or RAID 6 to ensure data durability, it falls apart about 500 terabytes. It just doesn't scale. The number of disks that you have in the system begins to become problematic, and with the mean time between failure, you can lose a disk every 3 or 4 days, and it takes a day or two to rebuild these 4 terabyte drives. So the answer to that is there's a new class of storage called object storage, and it has its features and its benefits and its detractions. The benefit is that it is far more efficient at storing data durably. I'll give you an example. If I want to store data with 10 nines of durability using a NAS or SAN architecture, typically I'm using RAID 6 and I'm replicating it twice. And so I've got a 200% overhead. So to store a petabyte of data with 10 nines of durability, you need 3 petabytes of raw capacity. With object storage, using erasure coding, it's a different algorithm for splitting the data into parity. you have to reach 10 nines of durability, you have about a 40% overhead, and you can store a petabyte with 1.4 petabytes of raw capacity. Now the problem is, all the applications that I know of in the post facility are typically looking for a file system, and object storage typically talks a REST interface. So we need to modify the applications to this new REST protocol, or we have to have a file system gateway, which slows down the bandwidth of the system. What's that last component? Network. Well, it's, the 10 gig network is widely deployed. 40 gig networks are becoming more prevalent, and we're seeing 100 gigs and even 400 gig networks. There's all kinds of technologies that are developing to drive greater bandwidth and lower latency in the network, and I suspect that, I saw a press release yesterday, they're going to have 1 gigabit connectivity to the home in Seattle for $80 a month.
With H.264, there was, things where you could basically, it would only process in certain size macro blocks, whereas H.265 or HEVC can take advantage of much bigger macro blocks. So especially at higher resolutions, you'll get better efficiency there. HEVC also supports wider color spaces, 10-bit. I think it goes up to 12-bit color. And it can do 444 as well. So there is that technology there. And it's been standardized. It's well accepted. Device manufacturers are starting to implement them into their chipsets. Chip manufacturers doing that. And so right now, any TV you have, you could plug in a USB drive and probably play your H.264 video files from. Within a year or two, you'll be able to plug in a thumb drive and play your H.265 videos. And hopefully, 4K comes down for the consumer in terms of price, and people will be playing back their family videos in 4K.
What does 4K do to add to the creative enhancement of our imaging canvas? And I think it does. I think it's significant. It's very important. But it doesn't stand in isolation from two other critical components that have a synergistic relationship with it. One of those is the wide gamut color that's used for that 4K spatial resolution with expanded bit depth. So we want maximum bit depth of that wide gamut color. And oh, by the way, while we're at it, let's protect the wide dynamic range of scene tones that we need to be able to take advantage of to go beyond what we have been experiencing with the advent of traditional HD cameras, which is constrained resolution, constrained color space, constrained color bit depth. So we want to go beyond that. There may be something to this 4K that gives us a new generation of aesthetic that's closer to what we would expect to get from film and leave behind all the negative legacy issues associated with HD video. I think we're now at the point where we have digital motion picture cameras that perform like film cameras, give us the flexibility we want without having to shoot on film. And I'm not saying for that reason never shoot on film, but we're not compelled to if we want to have all the attributes, the best attributes of a film look and feel.